Hey everybody, today we are going to start a discussion on chapter 11, government. Okay, during this chapter we will briefly cover the national government, the state government of Ohio, and local government. So, yesterday you began to read about the national government, and I hope all of us know what national government is now that we've read it. But the national government is the government that controls the entire country. So the United States has a national government. And an easy way to remember this is if you look at national government at the top of the screen, I'm circling it right now. You see how the first six letters spell out nation? So a national government is the government that controls the entire nation or country. It is sometimes called the federal government as well. So if you see federal government, that also means national government. Federal means national. So I might call it the national government or the federal government. They are both the same thing. I wanted to clarify that before we move on into this discussion. So the United States has a constitution. A couple chapters ago, before we went to online learning, we talked about Ohio and how Ohio created a constitution. A constitution is a plan of government. Okay, the United States Constitution was created to protect the rights and freedoms of the American people. So the United States Constitution not only set up a government system, but the main purpose of the United States Constitution was to protect the rights and freedoms of Americans. Okay? The Constitution was not written by a king or a business leader. It was written by people of the United States for the people of the United States. That's why the Constitution begins, "We the people." All right, so the United States plan of government, our Constitution, was created to protect the rights and freedoms of Americans, which is me and you. So again, the United States is a government by the people and for the people. And so the United States is called a democracy. A democracy is a system of government in which the people elect their leaders. Okay, so in a democracy, people above the age of 18 go and they vote for their leaders. They vote for the president, they vote for a senator or a House of Representative, they vote for their mayor. Okay, so that's a democracy, a system of government in which people elect their leaders. Make sure you know this, star it. We will talk about this in 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade as well. Okay, so in a democracy, here's the cool thing about a democracy is Americans elect who runs the government. Right? In other countries, they might have a king and the people have no say on who's the king. It's just whoever's next in line. So in a democracy, people elect their leaders. Citizens of the United States have certain rights and responsibilities. A citizen, again, this is review. A citizen is a person who was born in the country, so they were born in the United States, or someone who has earned the right to become a member of that country by law. A right, rights are freedoms guaranteed by law. So all citizens have certain rights or freedoms that are guaranteed by law, by the Constitution. And responsibilities are things that you should do to make your country a better place. Okay, so rights are freedoms guaranteed by law, responsibilities, things that you should do to make your country a better place. So let's talk about citizens of the United States have certain rights. Citizens have the right to vote. So if you're 18 or older, you have the right to vote in every election. Citizens have the freedom of speech, freedom of religion, right to a fair trial, right to own property without it being taken away. And again, I put freedom of speech. Okay, I don't know why I put it twice, but that's okay. Okay, so right to vote, again, it's to elect the leaders of government. Freedom of speech is the freedom to voice your opinion without being arrested. Okay, in some countries, if you talk bad about the government, you will be arrested. Or if you talk bad about certain politicians or rulers or anything. Okay, so in the United States, we have freedom of speech. We have freedom of religion. We don't have to practice a certain religion. We don't have to practice any religion at all if we choose to. Okay, again, in some countries, you have to practice a certain religion. Like in some countries, Islam is banned. You're not allowed to practice it. All right, the United States, you have freedom of religion. You can be Muslim, you can be Christian, you can be Jew, you could be, or you could practice no religion at all. It's your individual freedom. We also have a right to a fair trial, which means if you commit a crime, which I hope you don't, but if you commit a crime, they just can't throw you in prison for the rest of your life. Oh, you stole a chocolate chip cookie. You are going to be in prison the rest of your life. No, we have a right to a fair trial. So we get to be, our case can be put in front of a judge. We can plea our innocence. We can say, we're innocent. We didn't do this. And then we have a right to a lawyer. All right, so we have a lawyer that represents us to kind of help us plea our case before the judge. So a right to a fair trial. And I think everyone knows what a judge is. All right, you've maybe seen Judge Judy, which is kind of like that, but it's a little different. And as United States citizens, we have the right to own property without it being taken away. Okay, so those are some of the rights of the United States citizens. Also, as a United States citizen, we have some responsibilities. Some people don't follow these responsibilities, but as United States citizens, we should, and we have these certain responsibilities. So, United States citizens have the responsibility to obey the laws of the country. Okay, if you want to make this country a better place, you will obey all the laws. A citizen should also vote. Not only do we have a right as citizens to vote, but we also have a responsibility to vote, right? It's not mandatory. You don't have to do it, but it's a responsibility that we have. United States citizens, Americans have the responsibility to pay taxes. Everyone has to pay taxes. Remember, that's money that you give to the government. The reason for paying taxes is this money is needed by the government so they can spend it on different programs and services. So they can spend this tax money on schools, highways, on the military, to build the military. They can also use tax money to help victims of disasters, like if there's a hurricane or a tornado, or those who are unemployed because of like the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, the government can use tax money to help the people out. Tax money can also be used to take care of the sick and to keep our national parks safe and clean. Okay, so the government uses tax money for a number of reasons. They spend it. We also, as United States citizens, have the right to serve on a jury. A jury is a group of citizens in a court of law who decides if someone accused of a crime is innocent or guilty. So sometimes when you turn 18, once in a while you might be summoned to serve on a jury. All right, this photo is a jury. It is a group of citizens that hear a case and they decide if someone accused of a crime is innocent of that crime or guilty of that crime. So once in a while, I have to serve on a jury, and so will you when you turn 18. So here's a little bit about the national government, the United States Constitutions, and the rights and responsibilities of American citizens. Next week, we will talk about the actual system and structure of the government and the three branches of government: the legislative branch, the executive branch, and the judicial branch. Thank you for listening to this discussion.